Within his first day in office, President Donald Trump revealed plans to impose a 25% tariff on all Canadian imports. His administration pointed to concerns about illegal immigration and the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. as the main drivers behind this move. White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt emphasized that these tariffs would stay in place until Canada addressed these issues. The administration also hoped to boost domestic manufacturing and reduce dependency on foreign goods, with the tariffs intended to incentivize companies to relocate production to the U.S., creating jobs and strengthening the economy. In late January, Trump proposed that Canada could avoid the 25% tariff by becoming the 51st U.S. state, offering tax cuts and better healthcare as benefits for Canadians. He stated, "Canadian citizens would receive a very big tax cut, a tremendous tax cut, because they are so highly taxed. They would enjoy much better health coverage. I think the people of Canada would appreciate it." This suggestion was part of a broader strategy to apply economic pressure in foreign relations. On January 7th, Trump declared his intention to use economic pressure to persuade Canada toward joining the U.S., arguing that the merger would bolster national security and reduce border protection costs. Canadian officials swiftly rejected the idea of statehood. Former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland responded, "President Trump, Canada is not for sale. We are strong, independent, and will never allow your health insurers to profit off Canadians." The U.S. and Canada share one of the world's largest and most intertwined trading relationships. In 2023, their trade in goods and services was valued at $923 billion, with U.S. exports to Canada amounting to $441 billion and imports from Canada at $482 billion, resulting in a U.S. trade deficit of $41 billion. The automotive sector is central to this trade, with the U.S. importing about $34.87 billion in vehicles and parts from Canada and exporting approximately $32.84 billion in return. Canada is a significant player in North America's integrated automotive industry, with nearly half of U.S. motor vehicle and parts imports coming from Canada, 15%, and Mexico, 35%. In response to the proposed tariffs, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau outlined a plan to counter the measure, warning of its detrimental impact on both Canadian industries and U.S. consumers. Trudeau emphasized that the tariffs would increase costs in key sectors such as automobiles, lumber, and oil. "The American people are not the target. We hope that eventually common sense will prevail," he stated. Ontario Premier Doug Ford suggested potential retaliatory actions, such as restricting electricity exports to U.S. states like Minnesota, Michigan, and New York, which rely on Ontario's electricity to power homes. Ford said these actions would be a last resort, but were seriously under consideration to protect Canadian interests. Canada's initial response includes retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods, potentially totaling $37 billion Canadian dollars, targeting products like citrus juices, ceramic containers, and certain spirits. Although the complete list of affected items hasn't been finalized, reports suggest that Canada is considering tariffs on a variety of U.S. goods, including orange juice, steel, ceramic goods, dairy products, and dishwashers. In preparation for the February 27th snap election, Ontario Premier Doug Ford is seeking public support for measures against U.S. tariffs, including retaliatory tariffs and the removal of U.S.-made alcohol from store shelves. To protect Ontario's economy, Canada is a crucial crude oil supplier to the U.S., accounting for around 60% of U.S. crude imports. A 25% tariff on Canadian crude could disrupt this supply, raising costs for U.S. refiners and driving up fuel prices. Analysts warn that such tariffs could destabilize energy markets and escalate fuel costs in the U.S. Former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, running for the Liberal Party leadership, proposed retaliating with a 100% tariff on U.S. wine, beer, spirits, and Tesla vehicles. Her strategy focuses on products from Republican-leaning states and Trump allies, including Tesla CEO Elon Musk. This plan is designed to send a clear message. Any economic aggression toward Canada will result in substantial countermeasures. The potential tariffs threaten to disrupt the highly integrated North American economy, where about $3.6 billion worth of goods cross the US-Canada border daily. Prime Minister Trudeau has pledged a firm but balanced response, recognizing the challenges ahead. In 2023, Canada was the largest foreign supplier of energy-related products to the US, contributing nearly 50% of total energy imports. The US also relies on Canadian natural gas and electricity, highlighting the interdependence of the two countries' energy markets. Disrupting these vital supplies would have significant consequences for US consumers and industries. The US also imports large quantities of vehicles from Canada. In 2024, General Motors imported around 750,000 vehicles from Canada and Mexico, with a significant portion coming from Canada. In 2023, Canada exported $51 billion in vehicles, 93% of which were destined for the US. This underscores Canada's vital role in the US automotive market. The proposed 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican vehicle imports could have severe economic effects. S&P Global Mobility estimates that the tariff would increase the price of a $25,000 vehicle by around $6,250. Analysts from Wells Fargo project that Detroit automakers like GM, Ford, and Stellantis could face billions of dollars in additional costs. As production costs rise, automakers may pass these expenses onto consumers, potentially reducing vehicle demand. Canada's automotive industry is deeply integrated with the US, with major manufacturers relying on Canadian operations. GM, Ford, and Stellantis all have significant manufacturing presence in Canada, producing vehicles like Chevrolet Silverado trucks, F-Series pickups, and various Chrysler and Jeep models. The imposition of tariffs on vehicle imports from Canada and Mexico would affect major automakers, including Volkswagen, Nissan, GM, Ford, and Honda, with a significant portion of their US sales coming from Mexican and Canadian production. Beyond automobiles, the US is heavily reliant on Canadian goods across various sectors, including agriculture, where Canada exports significant volumes of products like beef to the US. The ongoing trade dispute could have far-reaching consequences, particularly for industries that rely on integrated cross-border supply chains. If the US proceeds with the proposed tariffs, Canadian countermeasures, ranging from retaliatory tariffs to restrictions on energy exports, could disrupt trade, raising costs for businesses and consumers alike. Experts predict that the tariffs could significantly increase consumer prices in the US, particularly in food, potentially adding $185 annually to grocery bills, disproportionately affecting lower-income households. The Canadian government has stated that any retaliatory measures would be carefully targeted to avoid harm to specific regions or industries. Canada's response will focus on impacting American interests more than Canadian ones, while avoiding undue harm to any single industry. If the US moves forward with its tariffs, Canada is prepared to escalate countermeasures, potentially affecting up to 110 billion CAD, 82 billion USD, in US products. In response to the threat, Foreign Minister Mélanie Joly announced plans to coordinate with allied nations like Britain, Mexico, and the European Union to amplify international pressure on the US and explore joint countermeasures. As tensions mount, Prime Minister Trudeau continues to emphasize the importance of North American economic integration. He argues that tariffs could harm both Canada and the US, disrupting vital supply chains and increasing costs for American consumers. The proposed tariffs may violate key provisions of the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, including market access, automotive industry rules, labor and environmental standards, and digital trade. If the tariffs are implemented, they could trigger formal trade disputes under the USMCA's enforcement mechanisms. The US-Canada relationship has evolved over centuries from early conflicts, like the War of 1812, to a close economic and military partnership. This partnership has been strengthened by agreements like the Canadian-American Reciprocity Treaty of 1854, the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, in 1994, and the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, in 2020. As Ontario prepares for its February 2025 election, Premier Doug Ford is seeking public support for economic defence measures, including retaliatory tariffs and actions to protect Ontario's economy. Prime Minister Trudeau and other leaders are preparing a multifaceted response, combining economic countermeasures and diplomatic efforts. The outcome of this trade dispute will significantly impact the future of North American trade and economic stability. Both governments are under pressure to navigate these tensions carefully to avoid further escalation and ensure the continued strength of their integrated economies. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We truly appreciate your engagement with our content. If you found the information valuable, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you can stay updated on future videos. Your support means a lot to us, and we're excited to continue sharing insights with you.